Must we as a species continue to be led into wars and genocides by the smallest of men, literally and figuratively speaking? These little megalomaniacal, psychopathic goblins like Vladimir Putin, and in the past it was Adolf Hitler and Napoleon. And not all dictators are short. There's quite a few dictators that can be quite tall. But one thing's interesting, the majority of dictators are men. I would probably go as far as to say almost 99.99% of dictators are men, especially the dictators that rise to power from humble beginnings, like Vladimir Putin has, like Adolf Hitler, like Napoleon, and unfortunately quite a few others. And I wonder to what degree we as a species were doomed. We're doomed to this, at least within anyone who is alive right now, within our lifetime for like the next century or so. Yeah, it's a shame that we are probably not going to see the end of dictatorships because for many reasons. First and foremost, we're all social creatures and we are inextricably interdependent upon one another. No one can survive on their own, and much less out in the wild. And I wonder to what degree, even before civilization, even when human beings were just evolving 200,000 years ago, we have to do it in groups and do it in bands, because a human baby, an infant, cannot. It's completely and totally helpless for the first few years of their lives. And I guess that's the price we pay for having larger brains and more complex systems. And in order for civilization to keep on humming, we need the division of labor. And in order to have the division of labor, we need to delegate authority. Not everybody can be responsible for everything. And that's why we have governments and whatnot. And it's interesting because the kind of people who seek out government or who seek out to be in positions in government and within power there, it's a special breed. It's a special breed of person. And that saying that a lot of people love to quote, which is, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's not so much that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's that people who seek out power are usually corrupt to begin with. And people who acquire absolute power are the most corrupt ones of them all. No one is handed absolute power. They usually have to murder for it. And clearly that's what Vladimir Putin is doing right now with the invasion of Ukraine. And like I said, I really wish I had the solution, because it's so much easier to call out the problem. It's a lot harder to solve it. But I think this is humanity's greatest weakness, our inability to choose the best leaders for our best interests. And it stems from, plain and simply, also the fact that we're just ignorant of so many things. No one is born knowing anything, and no one dies knowing everything either. Reality, to top it off, is counterintuitive to our limited senses. And to top that off, life is just indifferent, and it's random, and it is in a constant state of change, and that change can be very violent. But we need to do a better job of picking leaders. And when we have the wrong ones, like Vladimir Putin, like Xi Jinping in China, like Lukashenko in Belarus, there's just so many. The Castro regime that is still in Cuba. We need to eliminate these people. And I know violence begets violence and war is never the answer, but these people need to die. These are the people who make the saying, kill or be killed. There are forces in nature that will force you to kill or be killed. That's what these people are. And it's scary to see how a small group of them can rule over millions. And granted, no man rules alone. And that's the other scary thing, the amount of other psychopaths who are enabling, they go beyond enabling them. They are part of their inner circle, and they'd rather not be seen. They're not as egotistical as the Putins, as the Xi Jinpings. Those are the people who want to be known. And by the way, I know a little bit about that. I'm not trying to project my own egotism, but the fact that I'm making this video, the fact that I'm exposing myself out there. I have a little bit of that. What I do not have is the desire to tell people what to do with their lives. For example, a lot of people think that I'm telling them to not believe religion. For example, I'm atheist, though I grew up Catholic. And it's not that I'm telling people to not believe. I'm just saying, hey, listen, that's false. And there's a big difference. There's a very big difference between alerting people to problems and forcing them to think a certain way. And that's what the Vladimir Putins and the Xi Jinpings do. They're more than happy to do that, to force people to exert their will to power over everyone. And I feel like we need to do a much better job of stopping these people. Like I said, I wish I knew the solution, but we need to call out this problem. And as far as I can see, dictatorships are the world's biggest problem. And it's more so than climate change. I'm sorry. I feel like climate change is becoming this apocalyptic, alarmist cause celeb, which a lot of young people like to pat themselves on the back that they're doing something to save the planet and Mother Earth. And there is climate change. There is a problem with environmental pollution. And a lot of it stems from dictatorships. A lot of that happens because of dictatorships. But to say that the world is going to end, I really, without getting too much into that, I'm willing to bet that's the bigger problem we have are dictatorships. And another urgent thing that I see from one of the smartest people on the planet, Elon Musk, while trying to colonize Mars, it seems to me that our priority should be fixing problems here on this planet before we take off to other planets and colonize those and then start having the same problems just evolve again. And lastly, I think it's a great thing that I am seeing from, at least here in the United States, both Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservatives. It seems like everyone is in a unified condemnation of Vladimir Putin. It's pretty clear. Good. The interesting thing is how many people are still dividing themselves over whether Putin would have done this if Trump were in office, and were the sanctions enough, or what Biden is doing. Somebody pointed out a pretty good thing about, because a lot of people are saying that if Trump were in office, this would not have happened because he's a tough guy. Yet somebody pointed out, chances are the reason why Putin did not feel the need to invade Ukraine while Trump was in office was because Trump was putting down NATO. He was basically it almost seemed like he was weakening NATO, and that's what Putin wanted. That's why he didn't invade. Look, whatever the reasons are, Putin is a psychopath, and more people need to understand this. This whole thing that, he's got kind of a point, because NATO and the European Union have been pushing him. Stop it with this. The man is a psychopath. The man would kill his own children to stay in power. And that's, I guess, the real crux of my message with this video. We need to point this out. All these people back here, these are people who have been victims. This man died. These two men died over here. These were Cuban political dissidents who were murdered by the Castro regime. That's what we need to see. For anybody out there who thinks that Putin has, the thing is, with NATO, stop it. These people are psychopaths. They need to be stopped. And I know violence begets violence. War is never the answer. But they need to die. I think I'm going to end the video on that point. With that said, if this video makes any sense to you, or was even remotely informative or insightful, I would hope, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check out the links down below for my art that I have for sale. And thanks for watching.